All right, here we are back at Freeport Wine and Cigars, or Freeport Cigar and Wine, whatever you want to call it. Apparently there's a Rocky Patel event here tonight with Mike from Rocky Patel. So let's see what we got.
Essentially, it happens to be the biggest supplier of tobacco in the world. They're number one. There's nobody even close to them. They just have a lot of tobacco that's going on.
Smells really good.
So he's going through the factory where they store all that stuff. And Amika is the guy's name. And Amika walks by this room, and Rocky looks in the room, and she's like, a decent amount of pilons of tobacco in there. And he's like walking to this next area. And he's like, hey, Amika, what the fuck is that stuff over there? What's all that stuff? Oh, Rocky, that's old stuff, old projects, that's some old stuff. And he's like, that's like gold, right? Show me, tell me, And everything's labeled, and then he sees this is like 10-year-old tobacco from, one of the first crops in Esteli, and that's why that convention is so special. So he had unbelievably rare, beautifully aged tobacco, but not enough to make a line. So he took a large chunk of that tobacco for the blend that he wanted to do and made a convention. That's why it's $100. It's an expensive cigar. And I'll tell you, the next one after that, the year of the dragon has some of the tobacco that was found in that big room of all the pilons. The last of the tobacco is being used in what we're smoking right now at 30th. So there is some of the tobacco.
What's the story with the decade? So I get a flavor profile in there of a note of like a moss, and nobody else seems to find that, and I find it pretty consistently.
Wow. Yes, because I don't either.
Yeah.
We gotta get Kevin in there. That's Kevin's favorite cigar.
We
gotta ask Kevin, what's the profile of it? What does he taste? I mean, I get some really nice earthiness to that. It's got some nice, almost like a coffee chocolate type.
Yeah.
Almost like almost like a Davidoff has that musky kind of moss.
Have you ever been to the Pirates of the Caribbean ride?
Yes, I know the smell. It's 100% what you're saying.
So that's
the second you turn into there, you're like,
yeah. That's actually even more than moss. I get Pirates of the Caribbean, but you can't describe that to people who've never been on that ride. But it's this note of, it's musty, and that's not a bad thing at all, because I love that.
Yeah.
But it, you know how cigars kind of conjure up memories, right?
Yeah.
So I'm just sitting on the Pirates of the Caribbean, and I smoked one of those at Disney.
Everybody's different too, because I'll tell you what, I told you guys a little bit about that Edge 20th, that Ecuadorian Sumatra, and how Habano 2000 was being used for 9 years because we had no Ecuadorian Sumatra, nobody had it. And when I first smoked that cigar, and people laugh at me in the company, but when I smoked that Ecuadorian Sumatra for the first time, after not smoking Ecuadorian Sumatra for how many years, I felt like I was at 6 o'clock in the morning, down the Cape, down the Willows in Salem, that's where I'm from, Salem, walking the beach with that real nice salty, misty, that salt spray kind of air, which probably sounds terrible to be in a cigar, but for me it worked. It took me back there when I was smoking that cigar. And I tell that to a bunch of people, nobody else gets that profile. Yep. So maybe similar to you, but for some reason, there's flavors in that decade that are really bringing your palate to, it's connecting to the memories of that mossiness. Mm-hmm. I know, it's a small world, has the same smell.
Yeah, and Jungle Cruise has a little bit of it as well, but it just takes me to that.
Mm-hmm. Great cigar. God, that cigar's been out 20 years now. It's still work costs, saw a ton of it. Mm-hmm. And it's not easy to keep a cigar consistent like that. We constantly reblend it. Rocky is constantly reblending cigars because you can't have the recipe it's not like making a bolognese. You have a really nice bolognese recipe, and that's your grandmother's recipe and her mother's recipe. That works. You can do that. You can't do that with tobacco. Tobacco's going to be different based on the weather, the crop. It's a dry season, wet season. It changes the profile. The number 7 priming is going to taste different next year. It might taste like the number 6 priming next year because it's different. You guys familiar with the whole priming thing? We do that. That's a little bit different what we do. So I was talking about some of the differences. So what Rocky does is, and again, there's other companies I'm sure, and I don't know other companies. I'm not here to talk about them. Yeah, and some do certain primings, some do 3 or 4 primings. We go up to 7 primings on our plants. So you have the Seiko, the Viso, the Ligero, the top of the plant where it's really getting that sun. It's rich. It's really thick tobacco leaves. It gets all those nutrients. It's just And I know people use the word strong, but for me it's more of a full flavor. And then you have the stuff down the bottom that's thinner. You know, it's in the shadows of the other plants, of other leaves, and it's not getting as much sun, so it's a little bit more milder in the flavor profile. And what we do is we break that down in 7 primings, and Rocky's the guy to really talk about that, because that's his thing. He does that all the time, reblending and making sure things are consistent year through year through year. But he does that for a reason, because if you think about it, let's just say, how would we do this? Like, all right, if you took this and you broke that into the three primings. What's the 3 primings? Seiko, Viso, Lajero, right? If you broke it down into 3 primings, and just say you had 1, 2, 3, and you're a blender, you know, hey, I'm going to get that Lajero, I'm going to get the 3 priming from that plant that we're growing in Honduras, I'm going to get the 2 priming in the plant we're growing of that broadleaf that we're growing in Nicaragua, we're going to make our blend. Well, if you're using that leaf, that's the top of the one, and that's the bottom of the one. Does anybody in the room really think that leaf's going to taste the same as that leaf? Yeah. There's too much space in between it, right? It's too big of an area. So when you break that down to 7 primers, as a chef, as a person that's doing the blends, like Rocky loves to do, and he's constantly reblending and trying different things, he can go, hey, I want the 6th primer, because let's just say that ended up being 3 primers. That was like the 5, 6, and 7. So now your 7's only like that big versus being that big. So you have 3 primers in that Lajero top, and you can pinpoint and kind of narrow down the flavor profile that you're looking for. I think that makes sense to everybody, right? Mm-hmm. And we do that. So he's up constantly like, you know, who knows, next year he might say, hey, I need to get the 4 primer from Honduras because we've been blending the 5 primer the last couple of years. It worked, but we need something that's a little bit too meaty, it's a little bit too full. We need to bring that blend down a little bit. And I've been with him a gazillion times. The guy is constantly tasting different blends and changing primings, and I love that about him. You know, kind of being around behind the scenes a little bit. And I'm a sponge. I'm always like looking and learning and listening. You know, I just love. I love to take everything in. I was with him a couple of years ago down at our office in Naples, and we were having I had brought some people. I think Kevin was actually with me. I brought some people down there, give them a tour, and then we sat down in our war room. We call it our war room. And they're just doing the different things that they had a Zoom call going, we were shooting the shit, having a cigar. And like I watched Rocky mid-meeting just get up, and he walked away and he went out into the warehouse. And he came back in with a box of cigars, and he opened it up. He was taking them out, looking at it, taking them out. He was like taking out the wrap and smelling. And then he starts like literally pulling apart the cigar. And he's checking it. He's checking the blend, he's making sure it was, the right fill was in there, we had enough filler in there, and it wasn't too, because sometimes you can see, sometimes things happen and it's not like it's supposed to be there. But here's a guy the box is already in the warehouse, ready to get shipped, and I never asked him, this is my observation, I never mentioned it to him that I saw it, or as I saw it, and here he is, something clicked in his head, he's like, he might have even been smoking that cigar. I was like, I gotta go check on that, and he brings it in here and he's smelling it, he's doing this thing, and just checking it out. And I've been around where he's calling the factory and asking them, smoking a cigar, calling the factory, hey, listen, get the notes on that, what were the primers we use and everything. Brain's constantly always going around cigars. It's pretty cool. And I'm sure any manufacturer that you go to, they're all doing that in their own way. That's what the industry is. It's really like the chefs and artists making this product that we get the end result of, but they never stop. He never stops. He talks about it all the time. I just read an interview he did for a magazine. He was talking about being in the shower, thinking about blending that he's working on and what he should do, which primer he should do, what the color should be for the packaging and the labeling. And it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool, and it's unfortunate that he can't be everywhere. He'd love this. He would love this. He would sit down here and we'd have to pull him out. We'd be at 2 o'clock, and we'd have to call Ken and say, okay, we stay.
I don't have any problem staying late.
But he just doesn't have the ability to get out as much. He still travels a ton, but he's doing a lot of stuff over in Europe. There's a big market up there that is available because the Cuban cigars aren't readily available anymore. China's involved with their line.
They're all going to China. That's what I've heard.
So all the manufacturers are taking advantage of that and getting the New World cigars out there for people to try. And when they try them, they say, I love Nicaragua. I'm a Nicaragua guy. I think it's some of the best tobacco in the world.
Yeah.
And when you start to taste the stuff you can buy for $20 cheaper, it really damn good. Nothing against Cuba. I mean, Cuba's actually amazing. Good Cuban. Yeah, so he's doing a lot of stuff. You know, we get requests for him all the time to come to events, and he's just got to pick and choose and spread the wealth around. But pretty hard to get him up this way. You know, he might fly into Boston and go within a half an hour do something, and then get right in the place. Always constantly getting on a plane and going somewhere else. But you know, we can get down to the office and do like a tour down there. Anytime you guys are in Naples, and those guys are always around. We have a burn lounge there. We have 5 burn lounges. Anytime you guys are down in the Naples area and you want to go to the office or something, you guys can just contact me and I can make a phone call until we get you a tour. And, you know, absent some crazy thing going on in the office that they can't break free to do it, but usually there's somebody that can bring you around. And burns are awesome. We have 5 locations. Naples is the OG, the old school one. They're amazing. It's a beautiful place you can go to enjoy a cigar. And you know, you listen to music, you get together with your friends, you can bring your wife, your partner, your spouse, whoever you want to bring there. And if they don't like smoke, smell the smoke in their clothes. The system that we have there is just so good that you can leave and you don't smell smoke. Pretty cool. So Naples, Pittsburgh, Oklahoma City, Indianapolis, and Atlanta. Those are the 5. So you can find yourself in one of those areas. Shoot down there. And if it's a weekend and you got a group, get a hold of Josh or something. So you can get a hold of me or get my number and text me. Because they get tough to get into Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, prime time, and everybody wants to go out after dinner. So if we got like some friends going in, we want to make sure we call ahead of time to see if we can take them set up. But they're awesome. I love to go home. They're all different too. Everyone's unique in its own way. The decor and the artwork and stuff.
So there's that big cigar event in Vegas, right?
Where?
The Big Smoke.
The Big Smoke.
Vegas.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Is there anything like that on the East Coast, like in New York City or anything?
I think I talk so much about cigar deal. I'm not involved with the Big Smokes, but I did recently hear. I think they're doing one in New York this year. I thought I heard that there was something like a Big Smoke going on somewhere around New York, New Jersey.
Really?
But yeah, usually if you just Google a Big Smoke, I think you come up. They used to do them in like Chicago, LA, and I don't know this as a person working with a company. I know this as a consumer because I used to look at that. I want to go to that. You know?
Yeah.
The closest thing you're going to get to something like that in New England, Dave Garofalo, 2 Guys, does a cigar restaurant. I think we're in the 3rd year now. It's awesome. Yeah. I'll tell you, the tickets go on sale Saturday. It's amazing. Every manufacturer's going to be there this year. It's Dave's 40th anniversary. And again, I'm here with you guys, you know, cigarette shop. That's not competition. Everybody's in the same business together. I'm sure they're friends, Ken and Dave. Like, I looked at the list. Like, every manufacturer you can think of, their principal's going to be there. Rocky's going to be there. George Padron's going to be there. Toro Fuente's going to be there. Nick Bonomo's going to be there. Calip's going to be there. Everybody's going to be there. It's going to be a good one. And they do a VIP dinner, I think, Friday night, and then they have this big event that they're doing. I forget what they're doing. They do a different thing every year. They did wrestling one year. They did powerlifting last year. I forget what this year's is. They're giving away like 40 days and 40 nights at a huge lake house in like Lakewood and Misaki. So you get 10 nights in each season to bring 12 people. Pretty cool. He always gives away crazy stuff. Last year he gave away like a pound of gold or something. It might not be a pound, though. It was a lot of money. It was like 80 grand or something with the gold. The year before, he gave a Trans Am, like from Smoking the Bandit. A show car. He gave away a DeLorean one year. I think he gave away a year's worth of gas one year, like crazy stuff. It's pretty cool. But you go and you get a ton of cigars. Crazy. Like you get a bag full of stuff. Probably leave there with 50 certified cigars in the old place. We had Bill Burr there.
Is that in Salem or in Newburyport?
It's in It's in New Hampshire. It's just outside of Salem, New Hampshire. I can't remember the city.
Yeah, because they get 2 locations, I think, right there. 2 locations. One's like it's in.
2 Guys has Salem, New Hampshire, Seabrook, New Hampshire, Nashua, New Hampshire. I just went to all 3 of them last week. Yeah.
So this one's probably in Salem. This thing you're talking about.
This thing is just outside. It's actually close to Nashua, I think. The place, because the hotel that everybody's using is in Nashua. I can't remember. If you go to the website, you see it. I just can't remember what. It's at this beautiful ranch, and it's a ranch where they do all like farm-raised meats and everything. But people buy meat packages there. It's really nice. It's undercover. It's in this big field. It's really nice. It's worth it. And the bad thing is the tickets sell. They're probably the VIPs will be gone in minutes tomorrow, Saturday,
Really?
and then the other tickets, there's no guarantee. I mean, they could be gone over the weekend. They could last a week. They sell out. They sell out every year. Like we have to get our list in. Our list is already in because we're not calling up a month before and say, "Oh yeah, this wants to go too." It's